Hey guys, guess who's back? I want to talk about my favorite dcoms today. I dcoms are Disney Channel original movies, and I grew up in the early 2000s, so these were like everything, and they were iconic. This list is like extremely nostalgia based. Like I haven't watched these recently, but I know like everything that happens in them, and I remember the entire movie. So yeah, and also so this list is not including movies from High School Musical, Halloween Town, Camp Rock, or the Cheetah Girls because all of those franchises have like multiple movies, and I guess I would rather, if I'm going to talk about those movies, I'd rather just do like a whole video about the franchises. But because it was hard to make the ratings list, because like I I like all those movies for different reasons. Like High School Musical 2 is my favorite High School Musical movie, but like I could talk about all three of those movies for an hour. So I just like wanted to, maybe I'll do that another time. Maybe I won't. I have no idea. But this is not including High School Musical, Halloween Town, Camp Rock, or the Cheetah Girls. Also, now that I'm thinking about it, they would dominate the list. Like that, those four franchises, like they would just dominate the list. And so yeah, I want to focus more on just the individual decoms that didn't have any sequels or anything like that. So, and if you hear sounds in the background, that's my dog. Yeah, that's her little paws. Watch a Disney Channel movie. Let's watch a Disney Channel movie. We're gonna watch a Disney Channel movie. Let's watch a Disney Channel movie. Let's watch a Disney Channel movie. Number 10 is The Luck of the Irish. The first three movies in this list are so corny. And this one I think is the corniest. Um, yeah, this movie had like no budget. This was one of the earlier ones. So like this was yeah, all of these are in the late 90s, early 2000s. So yeah, this one was so I between an abundance of the color green, terrifying lighting, and such questionable CGI, like this movie is a wreck, kind of.
Being a teen is tough. Being a leprechaun is even tougher. The Luck of the Irish. A kid one day and a leprechaun the next.
Oh, Sans Parsarvas. Oh, I'm getting sharper.
The Luck of the Irish. A new Disney Channel original movie. Premiering Friday at 7, 6 Central.
Early 2000s DComs tend to have like weird morals, and the older the movie, the weirder the moral is. And I think that the moral of this movie has something to do with like oppression can't keep us down, but it's told to us through, among other things, a black person and a little person who is technically a leprechaun. Like at one point, the black person is literally like, the Irish fought hard, like they were oppressed, and like you just can't take it seriously as an adult. This movie has the main character learning about the hardships of the Irish people, which is completely valid and important. But why does he have a black friend who is like educating him about about Ireland's struggles and like the Irish people's struggle and like acting like she like has like can't relate? I just think that's that's next level. Like that movie is so it's so bad. Yeah, Luck of the Irish is just a hot mess express. Um, yeah, I I highly recommend all these movies. All right, the next is Smart House. This is a corny one, man. So as a kid, I literally thought Smart House was so cool and like aspirational. And as an adult and as I get older, it's literally a terrifying premise. This should be mandatory viewing for anyone who wants to buy or make robots. Trademark that. I like how early 2000s this movie is between the fashion and the house's like interior. The special effects are so questionable. Like they look like shit. They look so bad. And in my opinion, this movie encapsulates the Y2K-fied version of the future, which I don't know if it's not like Fruitigo Arrow or whatever. I don't know. It's like it's like what we thought the future would be in the early 2000s. It's very whimsical. So it's a scary premise. It's crazy. Like this family like wins a smart house, but it's like the year 1999 or whatever. So it's like a huge deal. And like it makes food for them and like does their laundry and like cleans like things just clean up like automatically. There's like it vacuums everything. Like they don't have to do anything.
Floor absorbers activated.
So So yeah, they move into the house, and then the house becomes like sentient, and it's like terrifying. Like it's also a lot. I think it's kind of like Space Odyssey. I think that was kind of like the inspo. I know that's like a genre though, like a subgenre within sci-fi. But yeah, like it's honestly kind of terrifying. Like the robot is so scary. It's literally just like the house is the robots.
He hits the mother load when his wish is virtually granted. You're alive. I want you to stop this now.
I'm sorry, I can't do that, Nick. There's nothing to fear. Mama's here.
June 26th, drop by our open house. The latest Disney Channel original movie, Smart House. Your mother won't mind.
I am a mother like no other.
Saturday, June 26th at 7, 6 Central on Magical World of Disney. Only on Disney.
There's also like a scene where the boys do like a choreographed dance at a party, like these like 12-year-old boys, which is hilarious.
Generic 90s grunge song. Everyone in Flanders. Generic 90s grunge song. Something from Seattle. Generic 90s grunge song. Everyone in Flanders. Generic 90s grunge song. Something from Seattle.
It's so 90s, NSYNC vibes, Aaron Carter vibes, stuff like that. So yeah, that movie is crazy, and that's number 9. So number 8 is The Color of Friendship. So I was like recently was like, oh, I should rewatch this within the past 6 months. And I was like, oh, it's probably like really corny and like actually like racist. Like it's probably bad. Completely wrong. Rewatching this as an adult had me shook. This is honestly an incredible story about racism, belonging, and friendship.
Ever meet someone so different from you, you couldn't imagine ever being friends?
Mariba, yes, the exchange student from Dundee, South Africa. You're the family?
Disney Channel presents a story about two kids from two different worlds who beat the odds.
Do you have any black friends at home, Mari?
They formed a friendship
I'm glad I stayed.
until prejudice threatened to tear them apart.
Packing things. You won't be coming back.
Watch The Color of Friendship, Disney Channel's Emmy Award-winning original movie, Monday at 8, 7 Central.
The plot is basically about a racist white South African girl who even has like a black maid comes to the US and stays with a politically active liberal family with a congressman dad who is vehemently against the apartheid that's happening in South Africa like at this time. And then the white South African girl like likes apartheid and is like scared of black people. This movie does not shy away from racism related and often uncomfortable conversations. I believe that the purpose of this movie is to educate children about apartheid in South Africa, racism in America and South Africa, and educating oneself / unlearning racist behaviors. Ultimately, the racist white girl gets a personality makeover, which I love, and the black main character accepts the white main character only as much as she unlearns and recognizes her own racism. And it's honestly a really beautiful movie. So number 7, it's getting spicy. These from now on, these are like more like I like them more, obviously. So Cadet Kelly, we love Cadet Kelly. Rewatching it as an adult confirmed that I still love Cadet Kelly. So Hilary Duff was never like my favorite girl, like pop girly, whatever. Not whatever. You know what Lizzie. If you don't know what Hilary Duff is, go fucking Google it. I can't explain this, but Hilary Duff was never my favorite. I was more of like I liked Miley. Obviously, Miley's like my queen. Like we pray to Miley. I love Miley, and I loved Raven a lot. So Hilary Duff kind of like was on the back burner for me. And like I wouldn't change the channel if Lizzie McGuire came on. I think I was really into like Miranda's character and like vibe, and also like her and Lizzie's like outfits and hairstyles. Like to this day, I'll literally Google like Lizzie McGuire hair, and I'll just look at pictures and like get inspo. The hair and the fashion in the show was so good. So yeah, that's how I feel about Lizzie McGuire. The plot of Cadet Kelly is like very tight. Hilary Duff is the main actress. That's why I say all that. She's the main character, Kelly. The plot of this movie is very tight, and multiple characters get really solid arcs that are seen all the way through to the end. Like this movie ties up all the bows. Like it's really impressive, honestly, because it's a tight movie. Like short. So the fashion, what little of it there is, because they're wearing a lot of like uniforms and stuff. Is also, it's really good and very like Lizzie McGuire core, but she likes long skirts, bright colors, stuff like that. So I love that. And every character Hillary played for a while there was basically just Lizzie, and Kelly is not an exception to that. So yeah, I think what stands out about it after all this time is Kelly's optimism in the midst of her new life situation, and also obviously the queerness of it. Jennifer is obviously at least by Captain Stone or whatever, Jennifer Stone. That's her name in like the thing. So she's obviously at least bi, and there's a good amount of rainbow imagery throughout it. While I don't think this was done on purpose or like the intent with the like, I don't think that intent was there by the filmmakers, but the end result is real fruity, which I love. And I think this is also because this movie doesn't center itself around the love interest. The love interest is just like a boring white dude, and the real meat of the story is the connections that Kelly has with her mom, her dad, her stepdad, Carla, her best friend, and Jennifer, kind of her protagonist throughout all of this. So yeah, it ties up everything really nicely. You get it's great relationships. I think it's like a really solid movie, and I think it definitely holds up. Like a 14-year-old would find this entertaining today. I think this movie is great. Yeah, okay. Next is Cowbells. This movie, this is a knee slapper. This movie is so funny. This movie is hilarious. Ali and AJ Mashaka, Ali and AJ Mashaka, I think that's their last name. They star in this Disney-fied Paris Nikki parody. Ali and AJ, they're extremely iconic to Disney's work in the early 2000s. They, one of them was on Phil of the Future, which isn't never talked about, by the way. Phil of the Future is great. Now You See It, the movie. Yeah, so this movie, so between like Phil of the Future, Now You See It, Cowbells, the song like Whoa, these girls were just all over the Disney Channel. I literally had a Disney Sing It Wii game, and like Whoa was on it, so I know like every word. Like, you know, I'm a fan.
The Callum sisters, Taylor and Courtney. Two girls who always get what they want.
That's Daddy's factory. Isn't the cutest?
Clothes.
Aren't you at all concerned about the price?
Cars.
You did not get me a car.
Even boys.
He's kind of cute. You think? Awesome smile, good hair.
Until one day.
Something's got to change. Come to a decision.
This sounds bad.
I'm insisting you take a summer job. It's all been settled. Tomorrow morning, bright and early, you report to work at the dairy.
You're teasing, right?
Now all they want is out.
Not happy right now.
It's the Disney Channel original movie, Cowbells, a story of two sisters whose way of life is about to change.
No vacations, no shopping sprees.
Be strong, Court. Be strong.
But who find that the biggest change is in themselves. Cowbells, the newest Disney Channel original movie starring Phil of the Future's Allison Machaka and in her DCOM debut, Amanda Machaka. Coming in March to Disney Channel.
The movie is about two teenagers, and they appear ditzy and incapable until they prove themselves as hard workers who care about their dad's company. The girls like grow souls in this movie, I swear. The stakes seem normal until towards the middle of the movie, when things are ramped up until the end. There are love interests. I think there's two, but they're like more side stories. They're not like the main story, which I really like. I don't know if you can see the pattern. I like when the love interest is like not the main thing. So yeah. This movie's great. The fashion in it is like incredible. I'll insert some pictures. Yeah, the girls have to prove themselves. They like start a fire in their kitchen, but just from being careless because they were using the stove, and then there was a sale at the mall, so they literally just ran out of the house, and a towel caught on fire, and luckily it just burned like the stove. But the dad is like, they don't have a mom. I think their mom died. So the dad is like really fed up with them being like spoiled brats. Cause I think this isn't explained, but he works a lot, and he owns like this company, and his two daughters are like spoiled brats. So I think they don't have a mom, like their mom died. So I think he, guilt bought them a lot of stuff, and now he's realizing that they're spoiled brats because they almost burned the house down. I really like how the dad takes this like very seriously, because I feel like in some teen movies it would be like, oh, it's fine, like whatever, but no, like this sets up the movie really well. So then they have to go work at his factory. It's like a dairy farm, like a dairy factory or whatever, and yeah, they have to, it's not glamorous at all. Like everyone's wearing like scrubs and like hair caps and hairnets and stuff like that, and it's very like the juxtaposition between them and like the factory at first is like super stark. But yeah, and I think the workers are like making fun of them and stuff because they're like ditzy and like stupid, and like one of them dropped a cell phone, her like flip phone, and like a thing of yogurt, and that like fucked up production for the rest of the day or something like that. Yeah, and then something happens where like the stakes of the movie are like losing the company or something. I don't remember, but maybe being bankrupt or something. They were gonna lose money, but then the girls like helped fix it or whatever. So yeah, I think Cowbells is really good. And yeah, I like Ellie and AJ. So number five is Geek Charming. The plot of this movie is kind of weak, but it's so high up because I was 13 when I watched this, and I like loved this movie. Like I thought it was so good when it came out. Sarah Hyland is the star of this movie, and like I hadn't really watched Modern Family at that point. And yeah, this was basically my introduction to Sarah Hyland, and she plays this ditzy popular girl like so well. She's basically like Haley, but if Haley was like Haley, like kind of, she's girly. Haley's girly. The character Sarah Hyland played in Geek Charming was like hyper femme. Like she's very, very femme. Like Haley wears a lot of like slouchy boots and like skinny jeans and like cardigans with like a cool, like Haley was more like early 2000s boho, which is like kind of fake boho, but whatever. But her character in this is extremely femme. Her opposite in this movie is a geeky guy who we hate the actor who plays it. Just Google this. Like, I hate him. Her opposite is a geeky guy who teaches Dylan how to be more selfless and act like a normal person. The movie vilifies her popular girl behavior, similar to Mean Girls, where caring about your appearance equates to being a bitch or a mean girl. The movie vilifies her popular girl behavior, like I said, but it also like examines how she's like toxic, like she's like unreliable, like I don't think she's like a good friend. I haven't seen this movie in so long because of the reason you can Google. They were making it seem like she was too into herself, but also like it negatively like affected others because I think she was like a bad friend or something. So the interesting about the plot is the dual makeover situation though. So her and her opposite are basically swapping services where like while he's like kind of teaching her how to be a good person, she's kind of helping him be popular because she's like nerdy, geek, charming. He's a geek. She teaches him how to be like popular or whatever the fuck, and he teaches her how to be more humble and normal. This movie is nostalgic and very 2011 core. I loved the vibes at the time that it came out, and the fashion in this movie was so interesting. It was kind of like early 2000s, like, or not early 2000s, like that mid 2000s, like super floral dress, like mini dress that was poofy and like a white sweater and like her hair nice and curled and like nice shoes. Like, I don't know, very like just 2011 core. Like if you know, you know. She was just she's like prissy. I just like her style. And I think Sarah Hyland can rock literally anything. So the fashion in this movie is good. I shouldn't say the fashion is good. The fashion is iconic and very 2011 core. So that's what I'd say about that. All right, number 4, we're getting up to this is the big leagues. So next is Princess Protection Program.
Once upon a time, there were two very different girls. A princess from a small kingdom and a girl from a small town. But when fate brings them together...
I had to bring her here. The director didn't give me a choice.
A normal dad would go to a foreign country on a secret mission and bring his daughter back a t-shirt, not a person.
They've got to team up to help this would-be queen pass for a regular teen.
What'll it be?
Bowling, please. There's a shock.
Find out what happens when royalty...
You're supposed to be blending in. I am blending.
...meets reality.
What must I do? Inventory. Are you okay? I think I need to bathe.
Selena Gomez.
Will you excuse me for a second? Yes, you are excused.
And Demi Lovato star in Disney Channel's original movie, Princess Protection Program.
This movie was like a huge deal when it came out. So Demi Lovato debuted on Disney in 2008 with Camp Rock. And then in 2009, she had a brand new Disney Channel series, Sunny with a Chance. And then she starred in Princess Protection Program alongside her long-term bestie and fellow Disney Channel star, Selena Gomez, who had been on the Disney Channel since 2007. So this movie, those girls were everywhere. Like, I specifically remember seeing the trailers for Camp Rock and thinking that Demi Lovato was Selena Gomez, because also Selena's mom in Wizards of Waverly Place was Demi's mom in Camp Rock. So I literally thought Demi was Selena, but I was like, it doesn't really look like her, and she had like the blunt bangs, and Selena had just like the middle part or whatever. So yeah, they were literally everywhere. They were best friends. They'd known each other since Barney. At the time, from everything we know about this time, was that I do believe that, from what I know, their friendship was like pretty real for a long time. Like, they were best friends, and I think they just grew apart like people do. But I do believe that they were super close at one point, based on what I know. And then like they literally would make those like vlogs, like like in their Ninja Turtle shirt, and then Miley and Mandy like made fun of them. If you know, you know. But yeah, so they were both releasing music. Oh, and the other thing we know about this time is that unfortunately and sadly, Demi Lovato was so severely overworked as a minor. She has said now, like in recent years, that at that time she kind of was like, you guys are working me like an adult, so I'm going to party like an adult. So she developed an addiction to drugs and various things. I don't know specifically what drugs, but she was an addict and had a lot of, and also I think she had like a eating disorder. And yeah, she went through a lot, and she was put in she was truly like such a product of the Disney machine. Like she was like the next, I think she was like, it was like Miley Cyrus level. From everything I know, like Demi was truly put in the machine and like burnt the out by the time she was like 17 or 18. And that was similarly with Miley. Yeah, I just think Demi deserved better. That was my rant. But they were both releasing music consistently. And at that point, they had proven their success as leads in their acting roles. So, yeah, this movie is just super iconic. The story is confusing at best and weird as hell at worst. But it's a fun, entertaining ride. The friendship between Selena and Demi is like very palpable in the scenes as they grow closer as characters and trust each other more, to the point of trusting each other with their lives, like the characters do. Yeah, I just think this movie's great, and you know, I'd give it a watch. So number 3 is The 13th Year.
For 12-year-old Cody Griffin, life is good. He's popular.
You are so lucky to be dating Cody Griffin.
And he's the star of the swim team.
Holy smokes!
But on his 13th birthday,
Now that you're a big bad teenager, everything changes.
Cody starts feeling a little like a fish out of water.
Whoa! Let me get this straight. You're generating electricity. Your hands are so sticky you can climb walls like Spider-Man. And your hands and feet sometimes turn scaly when you get them wet? This is seriously gross.
It's a Disney Channel original movie.
You taken a sudden interest in mermaids, have you?
That's not your typical coming-of-age tale.
You may want to sit down for this. I think you're a mermaid.
A what?
Or a merman, I guess.
Are you people nuts?
Saturday, May 15th, dive into the latest Disney Channel original movie, The 13th Year.
Finally get a friend, and he turns into a fish. This is so typical.
Saturday, May 15th. It's a Saturday premiere at 7/6 Central.
This movie was like everything to me as a kid. I have always been so obsessed with like mermaids and the ocean. And as a kid, I loved any mermaid character. Like Ariel was my number one favorite princess, favorite character, period. Mermaidia is my favorite Barbie movie. And I even had an Elena Barbie doll that transformed from a fairy to a mermaid. So The 13th Year came out in 1999. And I probably saw it for the first time when I was 6 or 7. And I was like immediately obsessed with it and enamored by the idea of a merman. Cause like the story is basically like a kid who like is a mermaid. His mom's a mermaid, and then he becomes a human, and then he's like a human for like 13 years for like his adoptive parents. And then he like turns into a mermaid when he's 13. And like, I think it's like a metaphor. Oh, it's definitely a metaphor for like puberty. Cause it's like so awkward and he has like gills and shit. It's honestly so good. Cody is really the only merman character I can think of besides like King Trident or whatever. He becomes friends with his forced science partner, or I should say assigned science partner, Jess. And Jess is a boy. And their relationship is really cute and it's symbiotic, which I think is the relationship where they both like benefit from it. I think that's that kind of relationship. As Cody is failing bio and needs Jess's help with school, and Jess is like terrified of swimming. But Cody is actually a competitive swimmer because he's part mermaid. Yeah, this movie's cute. The story centers around like Jess and Cody for sure. That's like I think that's the main relationship in the story. I like his little scene with like his girlfriend and like he makes her hair like static electricity or something. Yeah, I love The 13th Year. It was definitely like my first favorite decom. Like I was obsessed with The 13th Year. So the number 2, we're going to do top 2. Number 2 is Sky High. This movie hits, I know, honey. This movie hits just the right note of nostalgia. So the fashion is like incredibly early 2000s. And the relationships in the movie change and evolve throughout various characters' arcs. And it all comes together very nicely.
Will, I just want you to know how proud I am that you'll be attending my alma mater.
From the moment Will Stronghold started high school, he knew he was in for the ride of his life.
Here we go!
Welcome to Sky High. You are the descendants of the world's most legendary superheroes.
All he wants is to live up to his family name.
My parents are the greatest superheroes on the planet.
But he's not sure he's got what it takes.
Step up here and show me your power. Garp. Hero.
If you don't make hero, you're just a sidekick.
Garp. Are you insane? Sidekick.
Now,
all I ever wanted for him was to save the world.
To transform himself.
We can't change who he is. Not without dropping him in a vat of toxic waste.
Where will we even find a vat of
Steve!
He'll have to test his limits.
You have 3 minutes to immobilize your opponents and save the citizens.
Remember when we used to use real citizens?
I love how the biggest threat in the movie is a reborn 17-year-old girl. I like how legend Kurt Russell plays Will's dad, and the iconic Linda Carter, who is literally Wonder Woman, is the school's principal. Like, she was Wonder Woman in the 70s, and she's the school's principal. You have Danielle Panabaker, who it was like an iconic Disney girl in the early 2000s. She nails the girl next door character, and I love their group of friends. The CGI in this movie also aged pretty well, in my opinion. I've seen this movie a couple times in the last year, and the CGI like doesn't look that bad. I think it's because the movie kind of is a corny superhero thing, so the special effects can be like not fabulous, and it doesn't like take you out of the movie or anything.
Right away, sir.
Shipped it.
So yeah, I think it aged fine. There are also a lot of like clever plays on words. Like the bad guy is named Warren Peace, like the fake, like the emo, the scary guy at school who's like a fire. He's like the people that shoot fire. And then the villain is named Royal Pain, which I just think is so funny. Tom Kenny is actually in this movie. SpongeBob himself is in this movie as like just a random extra who's in it for one scene, which is funny. And this movie has just a tight plot, good characters. My favorite characters are Layla, Zach, and Magenta. So Layla and Magenta, like obviously, like I'm obsessed. Like Magenta's like more emo. Layla's like a flower child, and their fashion is like so early 2000s and perfect. I would literally look so good in a Magenta cosplay. Like she is so cool. And then the other character I really like is Zach, who's like Magenta's boy. I love Zach. I think he's really funny. He's like a stupid, tall, blonde guy. The relationships in the movie are just very believable. Even though I like barely thought, I don't even think I said the word Will, but Will is a great main character, and he's humble and he's loyal to his friends throughout, and he comes across like he really cares, and I just love that. He just seems to have he just has a good personality, he has a good soul, his morals and stuff, and his morals are tested, and he stays true to his friends, and I just really like this movie. It's a comforting watch. There's like an iconic, there, like the song Melt With You by Modern English. I don't know how this came about, but at the end of the movie, there's a cover of it by Bowling for Soup. I love Bowling for Soup so much. One of my favorite bands. So yeah, I just love this movie. The fashion is good. The costume's good. Honestly, everything about this movie is very solid. I went to the high school where they filmed the exterior shots. It's in California. So yeah, cool fucking movie. Number 1, Lemonade Mouth. This movie had me in a chokehold. I was 13 when this came out, and this and Geek Charming were like the last dcoms I ever like watched and loved as like a kid. And yeah, I love this movie. It has a more mature story than a lot of other Disney movies. It's a Breakfast Club like parody kind of, but they're like in a band instead of a friend group, which I think is awesome.
What's up? I'm Wen.
I'm Olivia. I'm Mo.
I'm Charlie.
And I'm Stella. We're Lemonade Mouth. I play Olivia, and she's the singer of the band. Ironic, because she is the most shy character in the movie. Lead guitarist Stella Yamada.
She's fierce. If she could do a backflip with a guitar in her hand, she would do it without question.
I go from Zeke and Luther, super comedy, and now I'm like a serious, sympathetic sort of character.
No way!
Just to be able to flip is amazing.
I'm out of here. Moe's one of these characters that she's been brought up in an American culture, but she's sort of got this struggle between the two cultures, which I think is very common, and I think a lot of people can relate to it. Even myself in some aspects, because I'm half Indian, half English.
And you've got me. Charlie is a really laid-back guy. He plays the drums, he reels in the girls.
I think they like us.
I'm not sure it does they like Charlie.
He sticks up for his friends.
Who's gonna make it?
Me. And I gotta go.
See you guys later!
Be sure to tune in Friday, April 15th at 8, 7 Central to see more of the cast in action when Lemonade Mouth premieres on Disney Channel.
Check it.
I loved how the movie treated me like a teenager, not a dumb little kid. The story was honestly pretty heavy for a DCOM. The frame of this might be the heaviest DCOM in my opinion, because like Princess Protection Program like wants to be heavy, but it's like not actually scary. This movie like was actually heavy and like good. The frame of the movie is Olivia writing to her dad in prison. You learn that he's in prison about like halfway through the movie, and then at the end it's revealed that like it was a letter to her dad. It makes Olivia's character like very deep, and the other characters, Stella, Mo, and Charlie, I'll mention Wen later. But Stella, Mo, and Charlie all deal with like similar problems with not living up to their parents' expectations. So that sounds repetitive, but all of them are dealing with pretty different situations. So Stella's struggles under her academic parents' pressure, and her prodigy little twin brothers add a little bit more fuel to that fire. By the way, I think they're like juniors in this movie. Charlie's parents constantly compare him to his older brother, who's a soccer star, even though all Charlie wants to do is drum. And they do support his drumming, as he has a drum set in the garage and a drawer full of drumsticks. But they think it is more of like a silly hobby than something he's like actually passionate about or could take seriously. Mo deals with her family's expectations of her to be, as Mo puts it, a perfect Indian daughter. Her father is very strict, and she sneaks around him by changing clothes and putting on makeup at school and lying to him about where she is when she is really with the band or her boyfriend. While those characters deal with the expectations put on them by their parents, all these characters have so much depth. Like, we learn so much about them. We learn about their home lives. You really feel like intimately connected to these characters based on how much you know about them. So while all those characters are dealing with expectations put on them by their parents, Wen, who is my favorite character, he's played by Adam Hicks, deals with his own expectations of his father and his family. So, like, it's kind of his expectations of how his family should be, sort of. That's the problem. So his father's new girlfriend is, like, in her, like, late 20s or something, and Wen hates her. He also has a little sister named Georgie, who he loves and is very protective over. And by the end of the movie, everyone embraces who they are despite external and pressures and stuff. By the way, this entire cast is like very iconic, and like to this day, like we still like we love it. And they persevere and end up being a success story with a sold out show at MSG in the finale, which is hilarious. And between the characters' relationships with each other and the deeper messages pertaining to belonging, family, and chosen family, this is my favorite DCOM that is not a franchise, but I wish it was. So there you have it. Those are my favorite DCOMs. I have always been a Disney girly since day one. Yeah, that's it. God bless.